It's been a couple of days since the reveal of the shift from 343 Industries all the way to Halo Studios. We've had some time to sit down and process the information and look around the internet and see people's different reactions to the news. I also uploaded a video about my reaction to that news, and you can check it before or after this video. Hey, it's your choice. But there was a certain reaction that was circulating X, and I decided, hey, I want to make a reaction to this specific person's opinion on the matter, and this person is named Reforge Gaming on YouTube. Enough dilly-dallying, and let's get right into his opinion.
Listen, I'm going to say the thing that the Halo guys, they hate this every time I say this, but Unreal 5 is the perfect time to make Halo feel like a different game. Like, honor the past, but it's time to stop making another, don't just make another Halo. I swear, if the next Halo looks, smells like, feels like Halo, and the weapons are the same, and the enemies are the same, I don't care.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Chief, because that might have been the stupidest opinion that I have ever seen anybody say. Whenever it came to, let's take into consideration Call of Duty, whenever they rebooted or remade Modern Warfare, it was still the same game. It had an updated physics engine, it had updated things, but at the end of the day, Soap was still there, Ghost was still there, Captain Price was still there. It's still the same game. The difference is there, physics-based, gun feel, visual. The guns are still the same, the enemies are still the same. What are you trying to get on about? You want them to take Halo, but turn it into something else? Not Halo? Why?
It's time for the reboot. It's time for the soft reboot. I think you need to do it. UE5's the best time to do it.
Even if you were to say it's time for a soft reboot, no, it isn't. There is no kind of reboot that would work while honoring the past, as you said in the video, when it comes to Halo. I mean, let's be honest. There is nothing that needs to be rebooted. The Bungie trilogy should stay the main canon. There shouldn't be anything. Look forward, and forward means do not change the past.
You know what they can do? They can kind of do what Assassin's Creed did. They can hand the Combat Evolved remaster or remake or whatever you want to call it, they can hand that to the fans and say, hey, we love ya. We appreciate ya. But this is what you get. Because we got to get more people in this franchise. And the way to get more people in this franchise is not just another Halo. I know you longtime Halo fans are already... You're already typing. You're like, you can't do that. It won't be Halo. That's they tried that with Halo 5. No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. They changed so much of the Halo formula when it came to Halo 5 Guardians, because that game was such a change. It felt more like a Infinite Warfare than it did Halo, because the whole idea of that game was, hey, now you can aim with the right trigger, hey, now you can do jetpack movements, hey, you can do so many different things now that weren't really needed in a Halo game. They put unnecessary things just so they can make it closer to what they think their competitor is, when their competitor is not Call of Duty. Call of Duty's competitor is Battlefield. Halo, it's its own thing. It battles itself. If you want to say it has a competitor, their competitor is something like Destiny. Let's get one thing straight. Halo is not Call of Duty and will never clash with the Call of Duty. They're two different markets.
No more half measures. It is time to do what they did with Doom. Go play Doom 2016. That's the level of change you need. You need to honor where you've come from so that you know, yeah, this is another Doom, but it needs to feel and look completely differently. It can't be just another Halo.
That might have been the stupidest comparison that you could have done. That's the second stupid comparison that you could have done, let's be honest. Because Doom 2016 was honoring the past of a game that came out in 1993. It is honoring a time that didn't even have press A to jump or space. They didn't aim with mice. That's like the stupidest thing that you could have done. There were so many advances from 1993 to 2016 that you could make a really good not even soft reboot. Still, it's a continuation. It's still a sequel. It doesn't reboot the series in any way, actually. If you read the lore of that game too, the change that you are saying from original Doom to Doom 2016, it took everything that was good from the original, and even Doom 3. It took the whole horror aspects that they really did a good job at when it came to Doom 3, and they brought everything from the original Doom series into 2016. Hey, we'll take one weapon into consideration, the chainsaw. Yeah, the old chainsaw in Doom, all it was hold to kill, and just it takes as long as it needs to kill. But the new one, no, it's an ammo replenisher that works on just one single click, and depending on how strong the enemy in front of you is. What kind of changes are you expecting when it comes to a Halo game?
If you've got the same hardcore Halo fans and the same hardcore Halo pros jumping and using the sniper rifles and using the same weapons and the maps and the enemies, and it all feels the same, it's like, yeah, that'll be as dead as a doornail.
My guy, you just saying that really proves the fact that you're just a PvE enjoyer. You're just a story mode player, campaign player, whatever you want to call it. And you coming out and saying, oh, if the replayability of the PvP, you just see the same weapons and the same enemies every single time. Of course you do. They're not going to change randomly in the middle of the game. They're not just one update changes the whole aspect of the multiplayer experience. That's literally just a freaking game thing. It's not even specific to Halo. The core aspect to any multiplayer game is your casual fan base. Your casual player will always be the biggest backing of your game, of your multiplayer base, because the moment the casual leave your game and the only people that stay there are the sweaties and the esport players and enjoyers, your game is dead. At that point, your game is dead.
There is something special about Halo, but you can't say that it's aged well, because it hasn't aged well.
Yes, it actually has. If you actually play the original games and you see, even just turn on Master Chief Collection and just play through that, it has aged pretty well. Even if you take into consideration the 343 trilogy, not as much when it comes to Halo Guardians, but if you look at everything, it has aged well. It shows, the thing that hasn't aged well is the original Doom when compared to Doom 2016. Doom original, no, it hasn't aged well. So having that evolution happen to it is amazing, but you can't do the same thing when it comes to Halo.
Every time I've talked about this or made a video about this, the Halo guys come after me, and it's like, okay, fine. If they give you what you want, you'll drag the franchise into the bottom of the ocean, squeezing the life out of it, saying, oh, I love Halo, it feels like Halo, while it just dies a slow death and nobody pays any attention to it.
The reason nobody pays attention to it is the fact that no one is going to be playing it, which means that point is actually wrong. Because you are giving what people want and something that can easily bring in a newer audience, then it will stay afloat. We have already established, in order for your game to be successful when it comes to the PvP, is if you have the casual fan base in there mixing properly with the pro enjoyers. The Halo feel is important because Halo has a specific profile to it. Halo has a specific feel to it. Why do you want to change it? What do you want to change it towards? You want to make another Halo Guardians? You want to make it more Call of Duty-esque?
Everybody that likes Halo has decided that they like Halo. Everybody that doesn't like Halo has decided they don't like Halo. Just another Halo wouldn't achieve anything. And be like, okay.
I hope you understand how wrong you are with that point, because the moment someone hates something, there isn't really a way to bring back these people. Just like you said, they have made up their mind, which means the people that hate you are not just gonna roll back their hate and say, you know what, maybe I was wrong for hating them. No, they're just gonna continue hating you. It doesn't matter.
It was a cool new story. It was a pretty memorable story, but the minute you get into the PvP, and the minute you, or again, the weapons and the enemies, like if it all feels exactly the same, it's like, why'd you even bother doing this?
You said it, the moment you get into PvP. PvP is you against other people. which means that everyone's going to be using the same kind of weapons. What is your point? That's replayability. There's not going to be an update that changes everything. What?
Change everything. I want you to look at how Doom took every weapon from the original and then evolved it and upped it and said, this is the new interpretation of that. That's what you need to do. Take the AR, for an example. The, whatever they call it, the assault rifle, the thing that shoots full auto. I don't even know what the names of a lot of the weapons are. You take those weapons, you take your battle rifle, and you say, how can we make this so much more and so much more modern and better than what it's been? But when you hold it and you look at it, you can sense what we've done. When you hold and you use weapons in Doom, you know what they've done. You're like, yeah, I know what this is. This is tethered to the past.
You literally just explained sequels. That might be one of the... What are you trying to make? I do not understand these points that you are trying to make. Oh, the gun, you have to change the gun, but at the same time, you have to iterate on what it used to be. That's two different things. Changing the gun means the battle rifle is no longer a battle rifle. It's a completely different weapon. If they did do that, by the way, they changed the plasma rifle and made it into something else. I'll find a picture. I think it was called like the carbine rifle or something like that. Tethered to the past, but it's a new iteration. I do not understand what you are trying to say. I am blown away that you could think that this is actually a good point to be making.
But it's not bound to it. I've always talked about the difference there. It's like, it's one thing to tether your game to the past, to nostalgically build on that. It's another thing to like bind your game to the past. It's like, no, it's got to look and feel like Halo. I mean, if you do that, you might as well not even bother making the game, because you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to appeal to the same hardcore audience, and everybody else is going to turn their nose up to it.
The same hardcore audience. Yes, we have established that you don't want to keep only your hardcore audience to it. But at the same time, people that will get into the game are getting into the game because it's a Halo game. The fact that it's not just an FPS shooter like Call of Duty. If I want to play an FPS shooter like Call of Duty, I'll just play Call of Duty. But it's the fact that it's Halo is the reason why people are coming into the game. It's the reason why you are hyping up Doom 2016, because you probably remember Doom 3, you probably remember the Doom on a Nintendo 64, and now you're like, oh my goodness, it looks like this now. It's tethered to the past, and the weapons are so like iconic. I understand what they used to be and what they are now. I'm not gonna just push all the topics that he talked about in his video as just he's a hater. No, I want to make these kinds of discussions. I want to have conversations. I want to understand what people think of these situations. But sometimes opinions can be very bad. I want to understand, where would these kinds of thoughts be coming from? Because there's no point in trying to change everything in your identity in order to appease a new audience. No, you have to keep that old audience. Just make a different game, a different futuristic game. Don't even call it Halo. Call it, I don't know, call it Schmalo. I mean, like, what? You are trying to appeal to a completely different audience, and you're trying to alienate whoever brought you to the 7th sequel in your franchise. That's wrong. What he's saying in this video can apply to one thing and one thing only. If you plan on making a spin-off. Let's be honest, because the spin-off, Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2, those were really good real-time strategy games. At that point, I am with him. It makes sense if you're having a war game, an FPS shooter that has armies facing each other. It makes sense to go and branch out into a real-time strategy game. But other than that, what else could you make Halo into? Halo Carts? Halo Chess? I don't know. What else could we make? Halo Hero, Guitar Hero 2, well, their song was in that game, but so we can't do that. It's already taken. But like, come on. What should be your takeaway from this video? Simple. Opinions are opinions, no matter how stupid they are. If you want to take it, take the opinions. If you want to throw them in the trash and get on with your life, you can do the same thing. But just remember, nobody's opinions other than yours matter. And that's the end of the video. Hey, if you enjoyed it, why not like, subscribe, and tell me in the comment section below, what do you think of the situation? And if you didn't like this video, hey, I'm not gonna tell you not to dislike it, you can go right ahead. And I hope to see you here next time. See ya.